Hi, I'm Jennifer Janisch, owner of Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions. I'm obsessed with curly hair. I cut it, style it, and extend it, and this podcast is all about my curly girl obsessions that stretch far beyond just curly hair. Hi, everyone. It's me, Jennifer, from Adored Salon and Adored Signature Hand-Tied Hair Extensions and the Curly Girls Obsessions podcast, which you are listening to today. And today I could not be more honored than to have the best mentor in the curly girl world. It's Ouidad, the real deal, the queen of curls herself. I'm super excited. We're going to just talk back and forth about her life story and how things happen. I could listen to her for hours. Her story is so intriguing, and I know you're going to find it just as intriguing. So let's get started, Ouidad.
Hello, so good to be with you, Jennifer.
We're so excited and so happy to have you here. Just honored beyond belief is all I can say. Like, you really and truly have shown up for me in so many ways. One, mentoring me, coming to my salon, doing the Day of Curls and for your foundation, Curls for a Cure. And then when I indulge in this and say, Ouidad, can you come on my podcast? And you accept? And we
Absolutely.
just
Absolutely. It's I'm honored to do it, and I'm very, very happy to do it. And I get teary when I think of all the stylists like yourself who have grown so much and have done so much and who have taken curls forward. Look at that head of hair of yours. It's amazing. And for me, it's satisfying, and glorifying is the word that I really like using, because you're just lightening up the world with curls and teaching and taking it forward. So it's an honor to be here, and I'm very happy, and that's what I'm here for.
thank you. We're so happy. Let's just get started right at the beginning. So tell me, because not many people know, well, a lot of people know who you are, but there is also a lot of clients who come in and they just think that Ouidad is just a brand. They don't know that there's a woman behind the brand. And I I tell your life story. Sometimes it takes up the entire appointment. And they're always just so intrigued when they find out, like, that you came here from Lebanon, that you're, I mean, great strides and everything about your story is such a sweet success, but I'm sure it was hard earned too. Nothing comes easy. So tell us from your roots, how did you come here? How did you get here? How did you bring your curly story to life?
Well, first of all, before anything, I want to thank all of my team. Without them, there would be no Ouidad at all. So I came here, my family, we had a really good life in Beirut, Lebanon. And in the late 60s, with the environment, the political environment, my dad decided that he's had enough. And we left and we came to the US because he had a relative here in the US. So we all moved, landed in New York, came through Ellis Island. And when we got here, we moved to Rhode Island and we're living in Rhode Island. And I was at the time 12 years old, and I started going to a vocational high school. I didn't know any English. I would be sitting in class while my teacher would be speaking to me, and her mouth would be moving, and I'd have no idea what the heck she's saying. Be like, oh,
Oh my gosh.
what is that? She's making sounds. So that's how I learned English. And because of vocational school, I was able to go and work in the cosmetology section of it because it kept me busy. I was very, very energetic. I had a lot of energy. I loved doing hair. I've always played with hair. So I thought, what a great way to learn English and play with hair. And you don't get that in the Middle East. You don't have a vocational school. It's so exciting. Fast forward, I graduated and I signed up to teach with my mentor, a gentleman that was teaching advanced hairstyling courses in Rhode Island as well as New York. And I got to New York through him. And from there, I got a contract to go and start working with this company to do hair and makeup for Broadway. So I ended up going from New York to London, back to New York to Providence, and then to New York. And it was all doing hair and makeup for shoots, for theater, for movies, for ad agencies, for everything you can ever imagine. And during that time, while I was working, I got tagged as the curl girl. Being from the Middle East, having curly hair, my whole family has curly hair. Being in the hair industry, no one was able to take care of my hair. And I was able to take care of the curly hair. So when we were working on Ouidad, I was able to do all the wigs, and everybody would just say, go to her. You want anything curly, have Ouidad do it. Ouidad will do the curls for you. And that's how curly really for me started. It was my hair. Nobody was able to do my hair. Every hairdresser I've ever went to, and I'm sure all of our clients have the same story. They don't know where to go. But there was no one. This is back in 78, 79. There was nobody that was even knew or understood curly hair. So I got tagged as the girl that knows how to manage curly hair. So freelance artist. I worked part-time on Madison Avenue at a salon, and traveling, doing hair and makeup. And during that period of time, I met Peter, who going forward ended up turning to be my husband, and we got married. And Peter was very successful in the restaurant business. And he is very energetic, and he wanted to create his own world. And I was doing well, and I wanted to create my own world. And we're both very, very, what's the word? We would compete with each other. It was just the way we are. We're both driven, crazy driven. And so we decided that that's it. We're not going to work for other people. We're going to do our own business. And I was ready to settle down, and we just wanted to do something instead of my traveling all over the world doing hair and makeup. And I said, I was in love. I was 25. I didn't want to leave anything. So we decided that we will open a business. And the only way to come to a decision of what business to open, because he was doing very well with in the restaurant world. I was doing very well in the hair world, and we didn't know what to do. So we came to an agreement, believe it or not, to flip a coin, to take a quarter and flip a coin. If it's heads, it's salon; tails, it will be a restaurant. And we had to commit to each other that if we do this, we are not going to turn back. We had to put our hands, both of us, out front, so we'll see that no one's crossing their fingers, the whole thing. And we can't go back, and we really had to commit. And it took a while before we came to the commitment to flip the coin, at least a week. And we finally decided,
At least
okay,
a week.
we're ready. Really, I mean, can you imagine,
No.
that if you lost, that you're not going to have what you love? That's
No.
hard.
Yeah,
I guess the love for each other was stronger, which was really nice. So we flipped a coin, and it went up, and it hit the floor, and it was rolling in my heart. It was in my throat. And then all of a sudden it flipped heads, a salon. And of course, unsensitive as I was, which I didn't think I was so ecstatic. I was jumping up and down, screaming and celebrating. And Peter just standing there, frozen, realizing that his whole world is going to change, that he committed. And then I realized, what am I doing? I have to
gotta subdue.
Yeah, down, girl, down. Come on. So I was like, I just stood there, and he just came over, and he was very sweet. He hugged me, and he said, "Salon, it is. Let's go." And so we started, and it wasn't easy opening the business.
I can't, yeah, I can't even, I've met your husband too, and he's such a nice person. Like, he's so calm, it seems like, very like supportive. And so in that situation, it was good for both of you. I just can't imagine. But moving forward into the salon, okay, I shouldn't even interrupt you, because
No. You're absolutely correct, but it was hard because he's very proud of everything he has done and accomplished, and he was extremely accomplished in the restaurant world.
Yeah.
And he was working in the French circuit, and everybody, he was not French, and they're very snobby, those restaurants, and they were giving him a hard time. They kept telling him that they had a shoe older than him because he was accomplished. And that's a typical French insult.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a power trip. And he just didn't care, and he just kept excelling. So to give that up and to go into the hair salon, I really commend him.
Mhm.
He's amazing, and he was a great help with it. So here we are, both of us, no money, trying to start a business and open up a New York City salon. I think it was unbelievable. We tried everything we can. We went to the banks, and every bank we went to, we had 3 major letdowns from banks after doing a projection, business plan, everything, just telling us that it's not doable. You might as well burn your money. We're not going to give you any money. You're going to burn it. How can you open a salon for curly hair? This is now 1980 by the time we decided. 81, 82. What is curly hair? Curly hair doesn't even exist. Every media person you've seen, newscaster, every human being was either highlighted blonde and their hair flat ironed. Everybody had to blow dry. There was no such a thing as curly hair. Everyone was straight. And so no banks would fund us. No banks would even listen to us. So we ended up, at the time, Reagan was the president, and he had just passed saying that the Small Business Administration, the SBA, was going to give loans to business women. So you had to be a female, an immigrant to open the business. Bingo, perfect. I ran down, we filled the application, and they accepted us. And then Peter did the whole process, running back and forth while I was cutting hair, trying to build the clientele to go into a salon. And it took about a year and a half. We had to borrow money from friends because it was $25,000. We couldn't even do anything with 25,000, but at
Well,
least it was a base.
and your salon is in the heart of New York City. Like,
I know.
I cannot even fathom, like, this is kind of personal to ask this, but like, I I can't even imagine what your rent was there.
Way back then, it was around 10,000.
Oh, even now, like, I would have heart failure over that.
It is
My
heart failure. It's unbelievable. It's like
that's
the whole loan that they gave us was 2 months rent, not even 3 months rent.
yeah, no.
It was
Oh,
really, really hard. It was very hard. So we borrowed money from family. It's almost like stealing and robbing and begging, but
oh,
we had good friends and family that were able, 1,000 here and 1,500, 5,000 here. His mother, Peter's mom, my siblings, everybody was able to help us. So we opened the business. And curly hair comes just from who I am and what I am. I have curly hair. There are more people in the world of curls than there are straight hair. And I was working against a tsunami. Everything was straight. And I just felt like, no, if we're going to open a salon, it's going to be for curly hair only. And I remember sitting in the bank trying to open a bank account. Now, we didn't go asking for a loan for business. Now we're opening a bank account. It's like, no, in order for you to have a bank account, you have to have a business. Well, we just opened the business. We need the bank account so we can put the money in the bank. Nope, it doesn't work this way. It was crazy. And one of the banker had said to Peter, he said, it's also a niche business. This is really crazy. You're going to end up throwing your money in the garbage, in the waste. You are going to burn it. This is ridiculous. And he said to him, he said, but it's curly hair. There's more people with curls than there are straight hair. And he said, niche businesses work. What about that store, the men's store that they floor shine or whatever? He said, sold men's shoes only. That's a niche business. It's not men and women. And he just said to him, I'm sorry, you can't do that. We had an angel. We had a lot of angels
ugh,
along the way, and that's what's really helpful, is having angels into your life. And at the time, our salon was on 7th Avenue between 54 and 55. 2 doors down from us was the world famous Carnegie Deli. You
oh,
know, if you're familiar with it, Carnegie, the whole world knows Carnegie Deli.
yeah.
Leo, the owner of Carnegie Deli, wherever he went, people would just do and give whatever he wanted. We used to get our sandwiches from him every day, and we were telling him we were having a hard time opening a bank account. He put his arm around us and he said to Peter, come with me. And he walked into the bank and he said, open an account for this couple right now. And they did. And that's how we started our little bank account.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Leah. And
You couldn't even open up a bank account?
no,
Like, was it because like the EIN number, or they just said no?
no, you need to have a business to have an account, but you need the account to open the business. It's a catch. It was
Yeah.
really difficult. It was, every aspect of it was difficult, but we were able, we opened it up. and it was only for curly hair. And I remember the first day that we opened the salon, my furniture didn't get delivered in time. I had orange chairs, and if you know me, that is so against my grain. Everything has to match, everything has to be top designed, everything had to be like just classic. I love classic. And I had black and white with chrome chairs, but they gave me a one to use till my furniture comes in. It was orange. We opened up the door, and I went in, and we're waiting for the phone to ring, and it's just not ringing. Nothing is happening. So Peter, clever Peter, decided, you know what, we'll go out and we'll bring the business in. So we made little personal flyers. We designed them, and it was only to give to women with curly hair, to have them come and try the cut, try to have the hair done. Peter gets dressed. He was working in the restaurant at the same time we were opening the business to just help pay for the bills. He would get up early in the morning. He would get dressed. I think he owned like one Armani shirt, one Armani suit, and that was his outfit. And he would wear his little papillon, the bow tie, and he would stand in the street and strategically hand flyers to women with curly hair. And he did that for over 6 months, and even longer, almost a year. And these clients, little by little, just decided to come and try it. And then the first time the women would come in, and I'd be able to work with their curly hair, and they saw what their curls does for them after a life of being put down, pushed back. Like mothers would tell their daughters, pull your hair back, we're going out, do something with it, or go get it straightened, or go fix yourself. All these subliminal, not bad messages. Yeah. And when I would do their hair, they would just cry. They just felt so free. We were doing business women. We weren't doing young girls coming off the street. I was working on business women, executive, and they would say to me, my whole life, I wasn't able to be who I am because I wasn't accepted. And word of mouth just went so fast. And it's unbelievable. When you have a really happy curly haired client, that client will send you 10 clients within an hour the minute they go up. Because you know, when you say I'm going to stand at the rooftop and scream out my happiness, they literally do it. They blow into their office. People just look at them and go, oh my God, what did you do? Your hair looks, did you get a perm? No, this is my hair. This is my curls. And they were so excited. And the business within 6 months just started picking up and going really fast. We paid all of our loan. We paid everything within 6 months. And we had the hardest time hiring hairdressers to come in and work, because I had to train everybody to work with curly hair, because they didn't teach curly hair in schools. It was when you went to hairdressing school, if there was a curly hair client, they straightened their hair out. They teach you how to straighten it. They teach you how to blow it out and cut hair and then flat iron it. It was crazy what they did. And lucky for me, I had a couple of passionate, they happened to be immigrant girls as well that came in, and I was able to work with them. We trained them, and it's just the business started expanding. And that's how Ouidad came. And the reason for curly hair, it's because of my curly hair. And I resented everybody that wasn't able to do my curls. I wanted to blow it out of the water, and I did. And there's more of us with curls than anywhere. We are the majority.
I remember, I don't know if you would remember this or not, but because it was, well, you probably will. Like, it was, you guys came to McCormick Place in Chicago for, I think it was an international beauty show.
It was the Midwest beauty show.
Yeah. And Andrea, me, and then Danielle, another girl that we used to work with, came and worked with you guys all day and did styling. And Peter told me that statistic the first time I ever even heard. 87% of the world has some form of wave to kinky curly hair, right? And I was just blown away by that, right? And working in hair at that point, I started when I was 17. I was in my mid 30s at that point. It was so shocking to me. And I don't know why, because in the salon, once I became Ouidad certified, like the clientele was there. They couldn't get in fast enough, right?
Exactly.
And just like learning that statistic was mind blowing to me. But the crazy thing is, this curl shaming scenario, it still goes on today because so many stylists just are not taught curly hair and fear it. With my, in the salon, am with the clients and my team. And then with the extension line, I mainly speak with other stylists, and I had to do market research calls for myself for
Right.
my business.
Mhm.
It was like 2 months ago. And so many stylists, like when we say the word curly, what does that bring up for you emotionally? And the number one response was fear. The
Exactly,
number one
because they're not
response.
taught. They're not taught. They don't understand it. And when you look at a curly hair, look at your hair. It's gorgeous. It's just to die for. But
Thank you.
as a stylist who doesn't know how to manage it, I'm one of those stylists right now looking at you and literally in my mind saying, oh my God, how is that possible? Why isn't it all frizzy? Why isn't it all sticking out? It's not like knotted, matted. I don't get it. This is so bizarre. I bet she can't go out. I bet she can't step outside because her hair is going to be a mess. And it's because there's no knowledge whatsoever. And that's what I found out is the difficulty trying to hire stylists.
That want to learn. Mhm.
Not even that wants to learn I remember I wanted to get a really hot to trot stylist to come in and join my team. And at the time it was only Anna and myself. And I was very cautious. I wouldn't take anybody. But it was hard to hire a stylist because the minute you say it's a hair salon for curly hair only, and they look at you and they'll say, I'll be right back. And you can see smoke behind them running so fast. So I'm out of here. How do I do curly hair? I don't even know how to do curly hair. And so what I decided was I started educating at the schools in New York. I would go in and give classes once in a while, only because I can hand pick the graduating class and take a couple of assistants. And that's how I built my team. It was all that came in as an assistant, trained under me for 6 months, and then started on the floor and did an apprenticeship, which in our industry, it's hard to hear, but that was required. And it worked for them and it worked for me. It relieved all their anxiety, all their fear, everything about curly hair that they never, ever, ever knew. And your story about when you went to New York for your first class and you had that young lady with Ayanna and Carolina, the assistant with the big blonde hair.
Oh, she
Yeah,
was so gorgeous.
and
That
that
girl.
little tight matted hair, and then all of a sudden when you detangled it, it was long enough. That's the fear. They look at it and they just don't know what to do, and they think that they're going to put their hands, going to get stuck, they can't get out of there. They have no conception how to work with it, and believe it or not, it's easy.
Yeah.
Once you understand it, all it is, it's puzzles. You just
System.
line up your puzzles.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And so little by little, as I started training them, they became sound, strong, powerful, passionate, and that's how the salon built itself. And then we couldn't keep up. And then word of mouth went, and the beauty editors. I remember sitting in front of beauty editors, talking to them about the beauty of curly hair, and they would be rolling their eyes. They all had curly hair that was flat ironed,
Yeah.
highlighted. And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, but it's so beautiful. It has a language of its own, blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "When you leaving?" Forget it. And some of these top beauty editors are the editors who's given me lifetime awards, who've given me changing the whole industry awards. But it's really, really, it's mind blowing. It's life changing. And there's several clients that I miss very, very much. I stopped cutting hair almost, wow, 8, 9 years ago, which is a long time. My whole life has been behind the chair. I've worked for 41 years, and I can't imagine. It's all intimate relationships because
Yeah.
your curly hair client becomes your soulmate, your friend. It's not just a client where a straight hair client will come, you're the trend this month, and then next month it's another salon and another salon. Curly hair is a devoted clientele that will stay with you for life. We opened the door in 84. There was no such a thing as a curly hair salon. The very next thing that addressed curly, the word curly, was frizzies, and that was only a product in 98. And in 99, DevaCurl came. So
Mhm.
we've had almost
A
14
long time.
years of educating, going, we didn't, we talk about you walk down the road that wasn't paved. We had to create the road. We had to like just hack our way through it to open it up and open minds. And when you have all these people come back and they're so passionate and they really love, the couple of clients that I was mentioning was one of the most powerful maritime lawyers in the country was a client. A Jewish woman, husband was a rabbi, lovely, lovely woman. I will not say her name just for discretion for her. She couldn't try a case without her hair pulled back because the judge, the jury, and the whole court case would not pay attention to her because she looked like, and I quote, a mad woman. Isn't that incredible? The
It is.
conception of
It's
the first impression, the unknown.
yeah. I remember back. It was in the start of my career, so of course, what is so crazy, right? Is in the early '90s and 2000s, like perms were big, right? But nobody would wear it curly unless you were a teenager, possibly, right? And a family member of mine, she was a businesswoman and she had had a baby, so she got a perm. She knew she was going to be off, and we saw her, like we were out at a Halloween party together, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you look like a different person with your hair curly. Now granted, it was a perm, right?
Right?
And she's like, oh my gosh, I just love it. I feel so like free and almost empowered with it, but I can only enjoy it now. I'm going to have to wear it smooth once I go back to work, because she worked in corporate America. And that was the first I ever heard that. The first. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I think I was 19 years old. And she's like, oh yeah, I can't wear my hair like this to work. And I thought, where do you work that they control you like that? Like it was so
Everywhere.
shocking. And
Everywhere.
then all of a sudden I started realizing, like, because I only was in the world of hair always. So I had no clue. And then I started realizing that this was like an actual thing. And it saddened me. It shocked me. And, you know, now in society, it is way more acceptable to wear your hair
Absolutely.
curly. But now, me in hair extension world, I went to a conference in the beginning of June that was all extension artists, and it was for salon owners, and everybody had extensions in. How many people in that room had hair like mine?
No one.
Nobody.
That's
There
crazy.
was 28 of us, right? And so in the extension world, it's still very like, you're gonna have your hair blown out. It's gonna look like Taylor Swift. It's gonna have these soft waves. Not Beyonce with curl, but Beyonce with waves, like coiffed, curled, set, right? So I feel like similar to you in the 80s. Like I am pioneering this movement through this extension world, that you have to even if you're going to blow it out, you have to have texture that matches. You can't have straight extensions and curly hair. Like you have to have these matching textures. And it's been interesting. It's been interesting, but that's just, it's baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, and hopefully giant leaps
Well,
soon.
there isn't a better person to teach them an education and educate them rather than someone like you with that passion and you totally understand. And I think that curly hair is so important. And believe it or not, when as time goes by and we get older, it's so important to have a hair thin. It gets thinner and thinner, and it's having extensions that are curly and that are perfect are so necessary. Even right now, curl natural, wearing it natural without products, just frizzing it out and just being who you are. I look at all these movements now and I just say to myself, how fabulous. It took 40 years to get here, but how fabulous it
Right.
is. that people are celebrating their curls, celebrating who they are. I had women that would run in there and just say, my mother wouldn't take me out to dinner because I look like a mad woman. So here's your own mother telling you that I can't go out with you. You don't look good. And then I remember there was a graduate student that a law student from a really nice university, one of the top Ivy League university, was hired by a firm in New York City, and she had moved from Boston to New York to go to work. And the first thing they said to her is, go do something with your hair. You can't work with that curl. Redhead, stunning, beautiful, tall, stature, gorgeous, gorgeous, strawberry blonde hair, thick, long, like yours, even bigger. And she came in and she was in tears, didn't want to cut it off and straighten it out. And that was the most important part for me was she wasn't my client. I heard her at the front desk. And if you recall the salon and the way I operated in the salon, and we'll talk about the way we all operated as a team in the salon, I excused myself from my client because in my chair, I could see the whole place. I was able to communicate with my stylist just through our eyes that we were all discreet. Our client was the star. We were the backup and we knew exactly how to do it. And I went up to the front desk and I spent almost an hour and a half with that young lady, and she left with her hair curly. And she ended up getting her job and working. And she's now extremely accomplished. I think she sits on the board of the licensing right now. And she's
Wow.
very, very happy about it. And it took a lot of time to empower her and tell her, you know what, not after what you went through, and the education that you have and the smartness that you have, no one's going to tell you how to wear your hair, that you could go back and you can convince them. And she went back and she just said, this is who I am. If you like me, you like my resume, you like everything I do, I can't change myself for that. If you don't want me, I'll go somewhere else. They hired her. And she ended up doing very, very well. So yes, it's sad that your hair, that first impression, that it's taken into a negative, taken into that you're not appropriate, or the talking heads. That's what I used to call all the announcers on television. They all look like a bunch of talking heads. They erase their personality, straighten their hair out, and they look like caricatures. You know, when you do a drawing and the face is this big, and they take, because look I have big eyes, big mouth, big everything. And my hair is curly and my hair is nowhere near, and you've seen me longer and bigger. But my face is made to fit my hair. Same with yours. But if I came and I straightened our hair out completely, our face would be like this and would have no hair.
Yeah.
I would look at the newscasters and that's all I would see. And then when I started changing some of them, it wasn't the ratings. They were having problems with ratings. And because people would look, they were startled because they were paying attention to your hair rather than to what you have to say, which is so crazy. But over time, it has completely changed.
It has. It gives us hope for the future. And now we're living in a good, pretty accepting time, like you said, like everything is out and about. I also it really blows my mind. And I feel like for now, right, our generations, our whole lifestyle, right? Everybody is so focused in on social media and how that just, everybody thinks that that's how everything grows, which yes, it does help, right? But the fact that you built it without email lists, without a marketing, well, you probably had somewhat of your marketing strategy was Peter and word of mouth, right? So I can't say no marketing strategy because that wasn't the case. The case was that we had to think outside of the box before social media and email. And you kind of touched on it, but what was the driving force? I mean, in 6 months to hear that your salon paid off every loan and your rent was $10,000 a month. And that was how many years ago?
41.
Okay, 41 years ago. That is insane.
Yeah.
That is insane, right? Were you in the deli constantly with your card?
Hanging out? No. But Actually, what made it was flyers. That was the social media back then, and it wasn't the social media. Peter was clever enough to come up with the idea of flyers. He was dressed nicely. That makes a big difference. So if he walked up to you to give you a flyer, he wasn't anybody that was giving you a strip joint flyer or anything like that. It was somebody that, oh my God, this man is dressed. Why is he handing
Yeah.
me this? And then they look at it. And they were so fearful. They used to tell me they would read it and like, curly hair salon. But then the minute they came and they had the hair done and they saw what it did for them and go back to the office and their peers would see the curls and would see the hair. And like I said, they would blow into there with the, they come in hunched back, walking in, hiding. They're not happy. They leave standing tall and just blowing into places and bouncing the curls around. And their peers, people they worked with, they would just love it. And that's how it started. It was word of mouth, flyers. And then he was clever enough to also strategically stand in front of Hearst, which is the publication for all the magazines, in Condé Nast, where all the young ladies and all the beauty editors and everybody was working. So he really strategized as to who to hand the flyer to. And that's how the business got built. Between flyers was the first leg that helped anybody, and then the clients that really liked their hair and went back. And then little by little, we started getting all the magazine people. And as I started doing my own PR and going and sitting in front of the beauty editors, it took years and years before they would even listen to me about curly hair. And one of our first write-ups was Town and Country. And after spending 45 minutes, I'll never forget her, talking to her, discussing curls, discussing everything and the treatments and how important it is. She talked about the deep treatment rather than the haircut because she couldn't talk about curly hair. So Ouidad became the oasis to treat curly hair with their infamous deep treatment. And that was a treatment that actually I used to make in the back sink in the salon of combination put together or at home. And we used to put them in little containers. And the flasks that you asked me about was damage control. And we could talk about that.
That was, so back to the going in and into the salon, right? I was so taken with your salon because of where it was. The
salon that you went into was on 57th Street between 5th and 6th.
Yeah, second floor, I think.
4th, it was above galleries. It was in a really nice area.
Gorgeous, right? And the salon was gorgeous. Like everything about it was just so beautiful. And as you know, you're in there trying to get your headspace around out of the fear of what I'm about to go through and the people who are there. And then we walk in the back and it was like little test tubes almost.
They're
right?
actually lab flasks. They're flasks that they use in the lab. Yes.
They were just all over. I'm like, what is she doing back here? This is so awesome.
Those were special treatments that we would combine and we would formulate, and they would have to be changed on a weekly basis. They had to be fresh and they have to be so potent and so perfect for the hair. And that was for people who, most of our clients we started getting are people who wanted to get away from the hair being straightened and go back to their natural curl. So damage control treatment was like supercharged deep treatment with a protection of gelatin, organic gelatin seal to help it and to give it shine and to infuse the life of the cells of the hair itself and close it to empower it so the hair doesn't keep breaking off. Because when you straighten your hair over a period of time, your hair, you can't even stretch it. You hold it and goes click, snap, 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 snap. The idea is to build as much that can be rebuildable, because what's dead is dead. And that's what it was. Those flags were there to help people to come out of the transition of from having the hair straightened to go back to wearing it naturally curly. And that was a very serious treatment.
So besides the fact, right, that you had the salon and you went through all of that, you created this insanely amazing product line. Like I can say, and I said this to you on the phone, like I have used Ouidad for the entirety of my like 14 years of being Ouidad certified. And I will hear about something on social media, or someone will say, I'll try it in my hair, and all hell breaks loose. It's like I'm like always reminded why Ouidad is number one and the best. And my hair goes through like this, it's like 3 to 4 weeks of trying to get concrete out of it or something. So
Bring it back.
how, it like there is this specialty formulation over here with Ouidad, but how did you started the brand out of your bathroom,
That's
correct?
right.
Like, how'd you do that?
It was